Our next topic is the explosion of AI, artificial intelligence. Talk to me, Dane.
So as we all know, as of the last couple of years, we've been on this big push for artificial intelligence. It's been around for a while, believe it or not. Kind of like as we were just talking, the scholars are already talking about it at Duke,
Right.
And as well as most of our most prominent research institutions, the MITs, the Harvards, the Princetons, and one of the main reasons why we're seeing a lot of things AI, especially in our popular medias and whatnot, is because again, it's just that now it's in the public view. AI has been around for decades, kind of like similar to GPS. GPS was around for decades, but as you kind of brought up, like it was specifically the kinks in the sense was getting worked out by the military. They needed the military to iron out those wrinkles for them. But once they ironed out those wrinkles, then they released GPS to quote unquote the world.
Right.
To where now we can literally have it on our phones.
Right.
Being able to get around. And so same thing, same premise with AI in this case. So as creators, these are definitely tools that can help you increase your productivity, because that's really the goal and focus of this first rendition of artificial intelligence. I know the devil's advocates will say, like, isn't AI making people lazy?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, isn't there a fear of AI? Is it a means to kind of push laziness, where now you don't have to do the actual research, or you don't have to do the the actual training? You could just type something in on AI or ChatGPT or what's the other ones? Gemini, and
right.
You got Bing and all them people that just all
Meta.
those Meta, that just come in and they, and it's like your introduction. You're bringing
we're making
the
a handshake,
AI.
right?
You're making a deal with the devil, so to speak.
A handshake agreement.
They agree, like, come on in. So my thing about the whole AI thing, where I'm at with it, is another term that we used earlier. We need some borders around it.
Yeah, some regulation. Right.
There's definitely needs to be some regulation, because my fear is, I watch a lot of movies. I'm a filmmaker by day, dancer by night. Psych. But my fear is that we will make it so intelligent that it will start outsmarting us. And then we will program it to. I mean, you've seen the movies, the iRobot, right, and all those movies where they programmed AI so advanced and told it to monitor us or to protect us. That there's a when you're dealing with humans, there's a lot of gray areas.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that are based off inflection that AI can't recognize. There's emotions, there's tone, there's feelings, associated with a lot of our actions, which dictates the the premise of said action, or whatever the case may be. And AI can't resonate that or recognize that. So moving forward, you might program it. You might have all AI robots like RoboCops,
right,
to be the police, and then you see somebody going like this, raising a hand to strike someone,
right?
And they're programmed like, okay, he's being violent, but he could be stopping someone from
hitting someone,
getting hit,
getting
getting armed, getting raped, or whatever the case may be. Like, there's a lot of gray areas, and that's my only concern with it. Like, I love it as a productivity tool. I believe that's awesome, and I use it in my everyday work, and I use it a lot. It's very it cuts down time.
Yep.
It's very helps you with time management, and you get a lot of results quicker.
Yep.
Faster and spot on. Yeah. So to speak, very to the point of what you're looking for. But like I said, there's also, there needs to be some borders or some guidelines to it. We're only going to take it but so far. Like, I hope they're not like with the social media thing, when that came around, like they just was like trying to make social media as user friendly as possible,
Right.
where it became something that excuse me, it became something. They laughing at me because I be getting on them for coughing and sneezing, and here I go coughing. It's because of y'all. But anyway, I need my lights off. There's some DI hires coming with them germs. But the point I'm making is like, you have, I forgot the point I was making, but anywho, there need to be borders and things around it, surrounded by the AI, because it can get out of hand, I believe.
I agree. I was looking for a picture that I saw when I was doing my research earlier this week. I thought I had saved it, but it looks like I didn't. But it was basically a slide from an IBM presentation back in the 70s, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the slide basically said, since computers can't be held accountable, we can never program computers to make executive decisions. And so, to your point of like, what are the boundaries of AI? Like how do we regulate it to where it doesn't get more advanced than us?
Right.
To where it thinks that, to where again it turns into some Terminator,
to its own entity. It becomes
like the Terminator
own
movie.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like where it starts on being on its own, doing its own thing. Because I had to do this because y'all can't sustain yourself. Like most of them doomsday movies. So. Yes, the productivity component of AI is beneficial, as if you know what you're doing, but also too, we're still in the first version of this. So, from what I found, it seems like the next iteration or version 2 of AI AI 2.0 is going to now be focused on robotics.
Right.
That's going to be the next step for AI. And
which I think robotics is good for. I mean, it might take some jobs, like far as your retail jobs, fast food restaurants, things of that nature.
Manual labor work.
Yes, a lot of those things.
Transportation,
logistics. Yeah.
No more warehouse jobs.
That's like let's talk about that. How do we feel about that? Is that moving us forward, or is what we said about preparing our youth for STEM will make them? Because, like you said, it's not the AI that's going to put us out of jobs. It's
the people who know how to use
people who know
tool.
how to manage AI and use it and implement it will be the ones that will be employed and successful.
Yep.
So, and the only way you could be successful in technology is getting into the STEMs. Like we spoke before, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yep. If you have a child, because we talked about getting Gen Beta ready for the next 20 years, and making STEM in the household something that's mandatory,
right?
And important
as a form of home education.
Yes.
Like so, it's again not outside of what they're doing in their traditional schooling environments. Making STEM imperative in home, so that again we can start early, because that's what Vivek was talking about in his Breakfast Club interview.
Right.
That the biggest inequality comes from a lack of education and preparation. But again, it's not that the education isn't happening or couldn't happen. It's just that we're typically starting too late, because like he said, by the time the cake is baked, when they're 18 or in the 12th grade, the cake is done at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. No, you can't put any new ingredients in at that point. It's already been in. It's ready to eat at that point. So we got to start early. So again, literally 2 years old, because that's typically when preschool starts. It's 2 or 3 years old.
Let me ask you this question. I just got a question from one of our producers, and they asked, would AI removing so many jobs require a form of universal basic income? So now that you're taking out a lot of these jobs, the retail, the warehouse worker, the drivers, so do that mean we implement AI and now the money, because you don't have to pay them a salary?
Right, AI people, right.
The robotics, they don't need vacation time and PTO, and overtime and all that. So
They can go 24/7, 365.
but they are also quadrupling the productivity
Yeah.
and the revenue coming in. So with that being said, I think that's a great question. Should we have some type of universal what do you call it?
Universal income.
Universal income.
That was one of the propositions of this last campaign series. I think Andrew Yang, that was one of his things he was campaigning on. And I would say no, only because it's not going to be sustainable long term wise. Because the complaint, I mean, what will ultimately, my theory as to what they will say will happen is if we give people free money, then that's just going to mean that more people have more buying power, which is going to mean that the prices is going to go up. So I think that they will use that as a reason to enrich their interests. So I think that they will use it to their benefit, not to the human. I mean, not to the citizens' interests. Because again, they wouldn't mind giving the money away, but again, because they know the spending habits of their citizens, they go get it right back anyway. So that's why I was just say no, because it's just like the lotto winners. The people who win the lottery, they usually end up in a worse position than before they had the money.
Right.
So if you start giving the whole nation free money, just like, I mean, we somewhat saw it during the pandemic. We gave out free money, and what did that lead to? A lot of scamming,
flat screen TVs,
right? So again, the
rims.
people didn't use the money in a manner in which they thought it would be used to help, again, survivability, standard of living. Oh, we got extra money. Oh, let's, instead of going to put it in little Timmy and Johnny's education, we went in, like you said, we gonna buy some new Jordans, new flat screen TVs.
But what happens to the person that's working retail?
Same thing that happened to the guys who was working in the horse stables before Ford put out the Model T. You're gonna have to skill up and go and get with it here and now, or you're gonna get left behind.
Or the same thing that happened to the person that made VCRs.
Right. What happened to all the DVD makers when Netflix came out? We saw what happened in that Blockbuster. So again, Blockbuster had the opportunity to be down with the future.
They did have opportunity.
Come on, man. This DVDs, they ain't gonna be in. They could have bought them.
No, they had a deal with a deal was on the table with.
That's what
Netflix.
I'm saying. They could have. Blockbuster could still be around right now.
Right.
But again, they couldn't see into the future.
Right. So you're saying instead of no universal money for everyone.
I would say universal reskilling education would be a better alternative.
So so that money. So I replaced my employees with robotics. My robotics quadruples my revenue. So as the owner CEO, I'll take a third, half of
whatever the percentage
is, and put it into re-educating the people that I had to let go.
Because I still need to have somebody to come and fix these robots.
Yeah, but not as many as the people that you let go.
Of course.
But
again, remember what you just said. They did quadruple production, which means that there's still other tasks that they need to be doing. But they're going to need to know how to use the AI tool to do those additional tasks.
So that would be the responsibility of said CEO or company for every employee that you let go. You're responsible to afford them the education to scale up.
Well, I doubt that they would make the
instead of just giving them money.
Well, I doubt that they would make the companies responsible for skilling up these, but they would do it like a program. You know what I'm saying? Like any other, like a Head Start program, to where, all right, if you've been affected by this,
I think the company should be responsible for it.
How would you make them?
Why wouldn't you? You're
because you don't. That's not your. Because remember, your interest as a business is profit. It's not.
I know, but I
labor.
just quadrupled my profit. I was already making profit.
That money to your shareholders.
I was already making profit. And successful. I was already the number one. I'm already McDonald's. 50 billion burgers sold, or whatever the case, whatever they billions sold every day. Right. I'm already. Yeah. So now I got AI in the picture, and now I'm selling 4 billion a day, which is giving me more money, but I done added to the unemployment. So instead of just leaving them out and dry, I think, You know, I mean, you still going to get triple the money even if you take 1/4 of the quadrupled revenue that you got. You know, just 1/4 of that and put it to okay, everybody I let go. You can sign up for these classes. We have you can go here and go ahead and elevate, and then anybody that we could use, we'll put them in these positions. Boom, 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 and then even if you don't come back to this company, you're able to move on in society with a learned skill set.
I agree. It's well intentioned.
And the owner and McDonald's is still tripling their profit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That I agree. That is well intentioned. That would be nice to do, but we have to be mindful of who we're talking about. So, for that will work for a nonprofit company or entity. But again, a for-profit company, their mandate is profit.
Shareholders. Yeah.
So their shareholders don't look
like,
at
hell no. They I don't care.
Right. It's just like, oh,
we got more money.
We got more money, so now we get more returns. So like we're not, because again, our interest is not. I mean, unfortunately, the corporate interest is profit to enrich to increase the value of their shareholders' investment. It's not to skill up the people that they just fired. So it sucks, and I would agree. So that's why my position is we can remedy a lot of this if we start skilling up in home, and then B, we start skilling up the kids earlier. Right. Stop waiting till they're 18. So that's why, like I said, we have a new generation to execute this plan on with Gen Beta, because again, they're gonna have to know how to use AI front to back, forwards, left to right, because again, it's gonna be embedded in the fabric of the society that they live in. So that's for when it comes back to STEM technology, AI is under the technology umbrella. So in my mind, a parent will be doing themselves and their child, a great service by starting early, because
that's where we're moving to.
I don't know if you've seen it or not, but there's videos of other countries like Japan, China, and how they educate their kids. So again, they're doing a lot of the things that I'm saying we need to do for the American youth. They are doing those things.
Definitely.
They are already doing those things. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like we're waiting till the kid is 18 to even introduce those things that they're introducing to their kids at 2.
And like my boy,
and we're making it optional.
The cake is already baked at 18.
It's like, and then now the parent is wondering like why the kid ain't listening or why they being rebellious. But it's just like, parent, you had at least 16 years from 2 to 18 to guide them down the path that you believe they should have been in. But you wait until 18, like you said, the cake is already made. It's ready to be ate at that point. It's no more adding ingredients.
So what did Mr. Wonderful had to say about all that?
So yeah, Mr. Wonderful, man, that's actually he opened my mind up to an angle of this whole AI situation, because again, remember, OpenAI, that's who owns ChatGPT,
right?
And prior to this, basically last couple of week or so, the word on the street was that we need billions to build out these AI languages and structures. You know what I'm saying? We need billions of dollars.
And China did it for how much? So 5 million.
So let's give them the foundation first. We have all these American companies saying we need billions, guys. We need billions.
Hundreds of billions.
We need hundreds of billions of
hundreds
dollars.
of billions.
You guys need to value our companies at hundreds of billions of dollars, because that's what it's going to take in order for us to build out these AI models and whatnot. So the market gave them billions. In regards to valuation, so specifically NVIDIA, and the reason why NVIDIA is important is because they are the chip manufacturer.
Right.
They're the company that is that allegedly has the most highest processing chips required or needed for the AI to do what it does. And allegedly there's a ban on those. There was allegedly some sort of a ban from those chips being given to foreign entities.
Gotcha.
And so now with that being kind of like the foundation of why the OpenAIs and these other Geminis and the Metas, that's why these companies was seeing these increases in their valuations over the last couple of months. And then what happened was, like you said earlier this week, DeepSeek was released, and that was another. It's a version of ChatGPT, Gemini, all that stuff, but it's a Chinese-based company.
Right.
So they came out and said they basically did the same thing OpenAI did with ChatGPT, but it didn't cost them billions. It cost them $5 million, which was sent seismic shockwaves through the markets, because now it's just like, oh, we've overvalued these companies. So that's why Nvidia lost. Well, it was like, I want to say anywhere from 400 billion to 600 billion of their valuation, the market valuation, because now it's just like, well, I guess y'all's chips ain't as important or needed as y'all proclaim to be.
Or y'all blowing smoke about it.
Right. And so to tie it all together, Mr. Wonderful's thing is just like his take on it is like China and America are currently at war. They're in a tech war. And so what's happening is the TikToks, the DeepSeeks, and then all these other apps that these Chinese-based companies have been putting out. His take is that they're using this as a Trojan horse to gather our data and to disrupt our financial markets.
And they said that from the inception of TikTok. That was the whole thing of TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, because when I first got TikTok, I was against TikTok. And I was like, is this thing called TikTok? And they say, the Chinese is using it just to get all our information and, the things that we do, the way we think, whatever. And I was adamantly against it. And then I don't know how
you got onto
bug bit me. I got TikTok bites all over me. But yeah, that was the onset of TikTok, that it was a Chinese-based owned company that was infiltrating our us as
our
Americans,
country, right,
and getting our information.
So that's what his projection, what his take was. But after I thought about it, it kind of made sense, because the first news was DeepSeek came out. It's this free, and that's another thing too. DeepSeek is free. It's open source. And so again, anybody can use it anywhere in the world. But then the next thing that came out was like a day or two after DeepSeek got released, Wiz, there's a company called Wiz. They found a major security breach in the data.
Wow.
So basically just a real brief cybersecurity 101. Servers, like data is on a server, but if you have the login information, if you can hack the server, you can change the privileges and users to where you can literally lock out the people who built the software. Oh, wow. You can extract data from it. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what the breach, the cyber attack revealed, was that there was a significant leak in regards to. So again, whenever you're typing data into the DeepSeek or any app that we're using for free, right, all those keystrokes is being saved. All that data is being saved.
You know what they say? Whenever something's free, that means you're
the product.
You're
right.
the product.
So all that data is being saved, and as they found with the Wiz, because again, there are like some Wiz is like an ethical hacking company, so they found the breach, but instead of exploiting it, they informed DeepSeek, and then DeepSeek has to fix it.
Oh, nice of them.
Nice of them, right? But the point being, if they hadn't have discovered this breach within a day or two or three of the app being released, and that means that hackers would have been having all your access, so your keystrokes. And the reason why that's important,
or maybe they hacked enough
within them 2 days, right? Because people was using it,
of course.
But that's actually the resolve here, and what people got to ultimately, before we close out, that's the importance. Ultimately, why I wanted to talk about this topic as well, is that yes, these are good tools, they are valuable tools, but we just have to be mindful of as users, where is our data going? Because again, if we're using DeepSeek, then that means that information is being stored on a Chinese-based server, and Chinese servers aren't beholden to U.S. laws.
No.
So we're giving our information to
our welfare.
Right. So we're giving you just whatever you type it into these apps, like it's being saved. Like you said, the logs, the keystrokes, all that stuff is being saved. So again, anybody can access that, or the people who know how to use the data, they can go in and access the data and then be able to find whatever they need to know about you to do whatever they want to do.
Wow.
So that's what you have to just be mindful for when you are using these free apps.
So how do we protect ourselves?
That's my point. So we protect ourselves by being conscious of the app that we're using. So in this case, DeepSeek, it's a Chinese-based company, so it is not beholden to U.S. law, and it is beholden to Chinese law. So technically, if the Chinese government tells DeepSeek, "Give us your data,"
they have to give it.
They have to give it to them.
So what's the resolve?
So the resolve is
don't use DeepSeek.
You can use the same DeepSeek AI. You just one alternative is to be, and this is a more sophisticated option.
Okay.
But you would have to download the program on your own server and then run it on your own computer, like your own network, as opposed to
like your own VPN.
Not a VPN, but so basically the server is where the files are stored. So right now, if you want to use DeepSeek, it's like you gotta call the server in China to use it. But you can use the software since it's open source and download it on a server, your own home server, and then run it off your own home server. That way, you don't have to call the server in China.
So what are some names of personal home servers? Like what are
just as home. That's why I said that's the more sophisticated option. The average individual isn't going to be able to do that.
Right.
So your resolve will just have to be just being conscious of the app that you are using
and not put personal information into it?
Certain pertinent information. So when you're doing using DeepSeek, you don't want to put in your social security number. You don't want to put in your
you go.
You don't want to put.
I'm trying to find a resolve for us, guys, because I know we're gonna use.
You're right. You don't want to put sensitive information, but you also too have to be mindful of what you're telling it to act or what you're asking it to do, because that can be used against you as well.
The question.
So if you're asking it, hey, how do I make a bomb, for example?
Got you.
That can be used against you. Not in the way you might be thinking, because now if China needs to find some insurrectionists in America, all they would have to do, and I'm just hypothetically speaking right now, ladies and gentlemen, all they would have to do is they can just go pull their deep sea search and find what Americans is looking on how to build a bomb.
Who's about that life?
And because they have your location, your IP address, they know exactly where you're at. So
and
now,
everything else that you've been doing.
Everything else. So now they can, in a sense, recruit you to do their bidding for them in America.
Yo, this is real.
Deep,
this is real, guys.
So that's what Mr. Wonderful was talking about. So we just have to be mindful, ladies. And so again, another new AI language is Queen, which was put out by Alibaba.
Okay.
We all know what Alibaba, who they is and what they represent, but they have just put out their
Alibaba and the 40 Thieves.
So, but again, they just put out their own version of AI, which is similar to ChatGPT and Queen. I mean, in DeepSeek. But again, just be mindful of where the app is coming from. So again, Alibaba's based in China, so a Chinese server.
Is DeepSeek and Alibaba working together?
No, there's two.
Or they're competitors.
Well, that's Mr. Wonderful's.
Or is it coming from the same source and they got two Trojan horses?
Well, Mr. Wonderful's take is that they're all working for the.
They all working together
with the Chinese government,
and it's almost like our government. Like you got Democrats and Republicans. It's divide and conquer. They're gonna choose one or the other, but they both working for the same.
Right, exactly. For the most part, that was his take. But again, if you kind of peel back the layers on it, it kind of makes sense, because it's just like, because I've heard that the Chinese version of TikTok is nothing like the American version.
Right. I've heard that is very educational.
Right.
It's very
productive,
informative, and productive, and
whereas ours is just like debauchery.
There's an actual STEM page on TikTok where it just shows all scientific technology and engineering and mathematics stuff.
I heard their version of TikTok is that on steroids,
right?
Whereas ours is more so debauchery on steroids,
right?
So, but again, that's what the assumption is that these Chinese-based apps are being used to influence and manipulate, the American citizen.
Yeah.
To go against its own interests.
Exactly.
And to serve the interests of China.
Hey, so we gotta be on top of this stuff, guys. We gotta be in the know, and that's why, moving towards the STEM for your younger generations, already having them come up with this way of thinking, and maybe, you could look into it in your off time. I know once people get set in their ways, it's hard to get people to change, but these things are, sounds like to our demise. So we got to be smarter than that. Mm-hmm.